Okay guys, and here's what I'm going to talk about today. I wanted to show you this, I get this interesting lamp as kind of like a dumpster dive, and it worked great when I put it up because it had the box and it had two bulbs, and I was like, man, why would anybody get rid of this? Maybe they just became tired of it and wanted a different design or something like that. After it was up for, I don't know, about 2 weeks, what happened was all of a sudden it started turning off randomly, and then it started so I swapped the bulb out and it still randomly would turn off until it eventually just stopped working altogether. Well, pretty simple device. It's light bulbs, and it's got a ballast in it, and then of course it plugs into the ceiling. So there's only one thing it could be, and that was the ballast. So what I did was I went ahead and ordered some replacements online, and I'll put a link in the notes for the video on where I got it from, because it's kind of a rare ballast. They didn't have it at Home Depot. Here's the box. They were 12 bucks each. They came with instructions. You can see there's the instructions over here, and they tell you how to wire it up and everything. It's kind of elementary, but if you haven't done it before, it's good to definitely look over the diagram, and that'll help you out. But couple things you need for this when you go to do it, and the reason I want to do this video is because taking it apart and putting it back together at one point is not intuitive. You kind of have to figure it out, so I wanted to share that with people. You can see you're going to need a couple different screwdrivers, flathead and a Phillips. I used wire nuts, the smallest ones here. I don't know if that meets code in everywhere, so you should consult a electrician, or at least look it up if you're not sure what your area is. I think it's okay for mine. I'll show you the old one, and I didn't even bother to test it, to be perfectly candid, because simply it's the only thing that it could be that could be wrong with it. I guess it's in theory it could be two bad bulbs, but we'll find out shortly, won't we? But anyways, this one's called an AccuPro, and the ballast number is AP-CH40-120B. It interchanges with a couple other ones, but it's basically, as you can see, it's a 0.60 or 0.6 amp, 120 volts ballast. I think it's used almost exclusively for those T5 circular lights, or T5C circular lights. So you can see those are the round ones right there. They're used in a few different installations and different lights. I've seen them for other kind of lights. So what I'll do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the reassembly process. But before I do that, I want to show you one thing. When you go to put this together, you might have to strip back some of the this right here. Just don't strip back too far. This is sort of like a protective sheathing for it, so it doesn't get, I guess, cut on any of these rough edges here. So just cut back just a little bit so you can do your wire nut. You can see I clipped them pretty close on this one, and in hindsight I wish I had clipped them even closer, because I probably wouldn't have had to cut back anything on the sheathing. So anyways, just a good thing to know. So I will start putting it back together, and when I get to the part where the important part is, I'll turn the camera back on and I'll show you in a second, okay? Okay, one thing I wanted to show you real quick was these are two of the wire protectors, so for chafing, and I don't see there would be a lot of movement, but I guess all houses shake a little bit, so I took these two wire protectors off of this one because when you go to put it back in here, the new one did not come with that, as you can see, and there's jagged metal in there, while that ground wire, the green one, is actually from the old setup. So, but the new black and white wires, ground and the hot wires, did not have those protectors. So I'm going to go ahead and take the old ones and put them on this one. So I would suggest probably you want to do the same. Okay, another slight problem. Once I got this in, and it has to be right at the bottom for the bulb to fit, do you probably see a problem? Those wires right here were barely sticking out of here. So what I had to do was go ahead, and since I had the wires from the other one, I just went ahead and cut those off, and I'm going to go ahead and take those and splice them into the other one. But I couldn't do it while it was outside here. I'll have to do it. I'll have to splice it and then put it in. So I'll get those set up, and I'll move the insulation strips to the appropriate part and then start putting it back together. Okay, here's the tricky part. As you can see, I've already inserted the rod in. Once you have one, you'll see how it's threaded, and it's really hard to see because it's down inside there. The best bet is to do the alignment on the edge. You know the bulb is going to line up right there, so push it down almost exactly to where you think it would be even, and you'd be right. That's where it would be. And once it is, then you'll see, let me see if I can get a shot of this. Inside, you see where it'll go into it, and you just have to kind of screw it in tight, and then it will be in place. Getting this apart is even trickier. Really what I had to do was, let me try and hold this properly. When you go to turn it, it'll act like it's not going to unbolt, or it's not going to unscrew. You actually wind up having to kind of apply a little bit of downward pressure as you are removing it, and so it winds up causing the I guess it's a bolt with threads on each end, and it goes into the ballast base, that metal base that the ballast is attached to, and then it also goes into this rod. So it wants to free spin on both of those. It doesn't get traction on either one. So by putting a little pressure pushing downward, when you go to spin it, it'll actually free that from the rod, and that way you can undo it. Once you have that undone, you can actually, I had wound up having to use a pair of pliers with a little bit of with some cloth over it, and I was able to gently turn it, and then it backed out from the base in there. So that's probably the way to go on that. So okay guys, I've wire netted this in place, and I have one screw holding it in right now, but I just wanted to show you. Make sure you tuck all your wires in, make sure that there's nothing chafing anything or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and do the last step here of bolting it up, and then I'll put the bulb on it, and we'll go ahead and test it out and see how it works, or shall I say, if it works. Okay, and you can see that it's all put up and it's in place, and it is working perfectly. So it looks like it was probably the ballast. I'm going to say it was, and good thing about them, they were only $12 to replace. Some of the other ballasts were more expensive or less expensive, of course, but so not so bad. And since I was getting them shipped to me and I had to pay $7 shipping, I went ahead and picked up 2 of them at once. But anyways, that is a video on how to do your Cirkel Light, or Cirkel. I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but again, here is the box, and you can see once again it is part of the Urban Collection Decorative Fluorescent Lighting. You can see there it is, Cirkel or Cirkel, and you can see the model number is 11515, B like Bravo, N like November. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments about the video or anything, feel free to leave them on there. As always, appreciate you guys watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. Have a great day.